Welcome back to Top 5 Auto Repairs. I'm pretty sure you guys encountered this before. Let's just say you have a severe engine oil leak coming from the bottom end and you thought it was an oil pan gasket and you changed that oil pan gasket, but you're still getting a leak somewhere on the bottom end of the engine, especially around the engine block. What else could the problem be? Let's start with the most overlooked problem. Let's start with the drain plug. Let's just say recently you had your oil change, and for example, let's say that drain bolt thread is stripped. Again, that's going to cause a severe engine oil leak. Or let's just say they removed that drain bolt and forgot to put back in that washer or that crush washer. Again, it's going to cause an oil leak. The next common problem you want to check is going to be the oil filter. So basically, if the oil filter is not tightened properly, let's just say it is too tight or too loose, again, it's going to cause an engine oil leak. The next common problem is you probably forgot to remove the old seal, and basically when you install the new oil filter, it's going to have a double seal on it. When you have a double seal on the oil filter, again, that's going to cause an engine oil leak. So when you're checking that oil filter and when you're installing a new one, make sure when you are using the tool, make sure you use the proper tool, because if you don't, maybe you accidentally crush the oil filter, and that can also cause it to leak engine oil as well. If your vehicle does not have that typical oil filter, maybe it got that paper design oil filter. So when that happens, it's gonna go, that paper design oil filter is gonna go inside a housing, and make sure you check the seal around it, because that seal can also go bad and cause a leak. Or if that seal is not bad, maybe it is poor installation, because when you're installing that paper type of oil filter inside the housing, I've seen this happen before. They thread it in, but they threaded it slightly crooked. Again, that's going to cause an engine oil leak. So for that oil paper type of oil filter, make sure you use the correct tool for the right job. So basically, this is going to go on top of the cover of the oil filter housing, and that's going to help to tighten it up. The next common problem is going to be you got a bad seal somewhere. For example, you could have a bad rear main seal or a bad front seal, also known as the crankshaft seal. If you got a bad rear main seal, that's going to cause a very severe engine oil leak. So basically, the rear main seal is going to be sandwiched between the engine and the transmission. If you see a severe engine oil leak between the engine transmission and just dripping down directly downward, that's going to be the rear main seal. The next leak is going to be the front seal or crankshaft seal. So basically, when this seal leaks, it doesn't really leak that fast from my experience. Of course, it always gradually leaks slowly, and eventually it will start to leak a lot. So basically, the front seal or crankshaft seal is going to be located right behind the harmonic balancer. So if you see an engine oil leak leaking directly down the harmonic balancer, that's going to be the crankshaft seal. The next common problem is going to be a bad oil pump gasket. So if the oil pump gasket is severely worn, it's going to cause a severe engine oil leak, and you're going to see a leak extremely fast. The next common problem is going to be a bad oil pressure sensor or switch. So when the seal goes bad on the oil pressure sensor or switch, again, that's going to cause an oil leak. Since in this topic we're only focusing on the bottom half of the engine, so the next common problem is going to be a blown head gasket. Your head gasket does not need to blow completely all the way to cause an engine oil leak. So again, if there's something wrong with that head gasket, it can cause an oil leak. So the next problem is going to be maybe your engine block is cracked. If your engine block is cracked, well, there's not much you can do but to replace that whole entire engine block or replace that engine. The next problem is going to be a bad timing chain cover. If the time chain cover gasket or seal becomes extremely worn, again, it's going to cause that engine oil leak. The next common problem is going to be a bad engine cooler. So basically, the engine cooler could be mounted really anywhere. It could be mounted on the top end of the engine or the bottom end of the engine. So it's on the bottom end. I have seen these on I believe it's a Nissan Altima. So if the engine cooler becomes bad, again, that can cause an engine oil leak. I have seen some really weird design out there. For example, on a BMW 7 Series, on the alternator bracket, there's going to be a seal that's connected straight to the engine block. And when that seal becomes bad, that's going to cause an engine oil leak. Again, back to our topic, you replace the oil pan gasket and it's still causing a severe engine oil leak. Well, guess what? Maybe it is the oil pan. Let's just say you change the oil pan gasket yourself. Maybe you forgot to apply silicone at every single corner, because every time there's a corner like that, you gotta put silicone around those edges. Or maybe you over tighten that oil pan bolt or nut and cause that gasket to split. Or maybe that oil pan bolt or nut is loose. That's why it is best to torque it using a torque wrench, and make sure when you are tightening it, make sure you tighten them in a star pattern. Or maybe when you install the oil pan gasket, maybe you're one of those type of guy who applied a whole tube full of silicone and just applied all around it. Because if you apply too much, again, that's going to cause an engine oil leak. And if you still can't find that engine oil leak, maybe it's time to clean that engine with engine degreaser. If that doesn't work, maybe you want to use some sort of dye to find that engine oil leak. I hope you found this video useful. As always, thank you for watching and subscribe to Top 5 Auto Repairs.